Good morning. It's such a pleasure to be with you here today for PNG Investment Week to speak about renewable energy investment in PNG. I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and future. I acknowledge the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, the Honourable James Marape, in attendance at the conference, Papua New Guinean ministers, in particular the Energy Minister Thomas Opa on the panel today, members of Parliament, senior government officials, business leaders, diplomatic representatives, ladies and gentlemen. The focus of my presentation today is on the Australian Government's renewable energy investments in Papua New Guinea, why this is a growing focus of Australia's infrastructure support to PNG, what we're doing and how we work. I'll conclude the presentation with a few points on the opportunities that we see for business to partner with us and the Papua New Guinean government to achieve a renewable energy future for all Papua New Guineans, where they have access to reliable, affordable and clean energy. Energy investments form just one part of Australia's infrastructure portfolio in PNG as part of our broader development assistance. Our infrastructure investments also include roads, ports, aviation, telecommunications and social infrastructure such as schools, health facilities and markets. And we do have a stall at the exhibition if you're interested in going by and asking some of our team about what we do. You'll see on the slide here we have a picture of our first solar farm that's been completed in PNG in Aitape, and I'll talk about that a little bit more soon. Renewable energy investment and support is a shared priority for the governments of PNG and Australia and is vital to supporting PNG's social and economic growth and resilience to climate change. We know that access to reliable, affordable and clean energy is critical to powering homes, schools, hospitals and businesses. And PNG needs this investment to meet both economic demand and potential. Renewable energy improves lives and strengthens economies. And you'll see this slide is one of our projects in Oro province, which is solar household lighting and kits. And it's some students studying, and they can now study after school because they have lighting to study under. By realising PNG's enormous renewable energy potential and removing dependence on expensive fossil fuels, we can help to offer a cleaner and more sustainable future for all Papua New Guineans. Working in partnership with PNG, the true measure of our success will be funding and implementing a pipeline of high-quality renewable energy projects which will set PNG on track for a renewable, climate-resilient future. The PNG government has an objective of 50% of development assistance to PNG being directed toward infrastructure. Australia has responded to this by scaling up our infrastructure support, both through our grant funding and through the Australian Infrastructure Financing Facility for the Pacific. Energy investment represents a large portion of our infrastructure support. Apologies, having some problems with the slides. There we are. This map shows completed, currently underway and planned projects for us in PNG. Our renewable energy support spans both on-grid and off-grid infrastructure, as well as technical assistance and governance reforms. And as you can see from the map, it currently extends across 15 provinces in Papua New Guinea. In the on-grid space, we're working with PNG Power to address the reliability of PNG's two largest grids, Port Moresby and Ramu, through critical works on hydropower generation assets and grid stability. At Rauna Hydro Station in Port Moresby and the Ramu Hydropower Station in the Eastern Highlands, repairs and upgrades have helped to reinstate more than 30 megawatts of generation capacity. So that's about 1/8 of the Ramu and Port Moresby grid capacity. And this picture shows the Ramu 1 hydropower station in operation. A full refurbishment of the Ramu 1 hydropower station is also planned using highly concessional financing from the Australian Infrastructure Financing Facility. This would extend its life and bring it back to its 75 megawatt nameplate capacity. We also support transmission and distribution, such as new transformers and capacitor banks for the Port Moresby grid to stabilise power supply and improve reliability. But one of our project areas that I'm particularly passionate about is our commitment to renewable energy upgrades in 8 regional mini-grids, where we'll build solar plants to offset expensive diesel power and provide more reliable and clean energy to nearby communities. Our first plant, which you saw in the earlier slide, is now operating in Aitape in West Sepik with a 1 megawatt solar PV system and a 1 megawatt battery. Aitape is now seeing a significant reduction in power outages. In July 2023, prior to commissioning the solar farm, PNG Power reported more than 500 hours of power outages. In July 2024, PNG Power reported less than 50 hours of power outages due to the solar plant. Our second project in Arrow in Bougainville is under construction at the moment. We've completed the first phase, and when the second phase is completed, it will also provide a 1 megawatt solar PV system and battery. We have a pipeline of projects planned for Kimbe, Kerema, Marprik, Daru, Buka, Vanimo and Finschhafen. The next projects that we expect to commence construction early in the new year will be Kimbe, Marprik, Buka and Kerema. These projects do take a while to get underway, in particular finding appropriate land sites that are in the right location for transmission and distribution and have appropriate land tenure. But the teams have worked hard with our colleagues at NEA and with PNG Power to make those projects happen. Our hydropower and solar infrastructure projects are structured around a core of training and capacity building for PNG Power that will continue long after the infrastructure has been completed. We understand that building the solar plant is just the start and that it's critical to ensure that these new assets are managed and maintained so they can be used over the long term. In off-grid energy, we know that for PNG to meet its ambitious electrification targets by 2030, we must look beyond the main grids and provide off-grid renewable power to more remote communities. Australia's significant off-grid grants program, called Power and Community Partnerships, has recently been reopened for expressions of interest. To date, under that program, we have installed more than 55,000 solar home kits and systems for community facilities, and more than 1,500 street lights, benefiting hundreds of thousands of people across 7 provinces. And these are students in Morabay studying under a solar street light after school. We also have projects underway in Rye Coast, in Madang, in the Matanai and in the Milne Bay Islands, which will deliver more than 15,000 additional solar home systems and dozens of larger community systems targeting schools, health facilities and house wins. These projects also include training and capacity building support for rural communities. We're creating solar champions in rural communities that can install and conduct basic repairs on the equipment that we deliver. We look forward in the new year to getting applications and starting new projects under Power and Community Partnerships, and if anyone's interested in finding out more, the website is powerandcommunity.org.pg, and feel free to ask myself or one of our team after the presentation about it. Australia does also work closely with the National Energy Authority to improve its regulatory expertise, working with them and a range of energy sector partners to develop and implement on and off-grid solar regulations. As important as our projects is how we work. Across the board, we're committed to delivering high-quality projects that align with the PNG government's infrastructure priorities. We prioritise local leadership and employment across our portfolio in PNG. This means prioritising local jobs and, whenever possible, building local technical capacity and purchasing goods and services locally to maximise benefits to PNG communities. One of our recent projects that was launched a couple of weeks ago is the Mataraya Health Centre in Hanawabata, and through that project, we've trained 21 young people from the local Hanawabata community to Certificate 1 level in welding, carpentry and plumbing. And this means that they have a trade certificate that they can then go on to use in their careers and further their careers in those areas. And that project, like many of our projects in other areas, does include solar power. We also work with project engineers to embed the latest climate science into project designs and identify appropriate adaptation and mitigation measures to build climate-resilient infrastructure. This means quality that will last. We work with our contractors to ensure that Australian projects include environmental and social safeguards. Projects don't cause broader environmental damage, they protect local people, and our contractors need to be excellent corporate citizens in PNG. We plan infrastructure investments that deliver long-term benefits, they're fit for purpose, provide a return to the economy, and don't add to unsustainable debt. A recent economic analysis of our redevelopment of the Kimbay Market project showed that for every $1 of Australian funding spent, the project generated economic activity of $1.66 for the Kimbay regional economy and $2.53 for the PNG economy. And likewise, that project included solar. We provide low-cost financing options so that we can offer the best possible value partners can get from any source for their infrastructure development. High-quality infrastructure investments in PNG are only effective when coupled with governance, reforms and capacity. And we know that a significant and sustained PNG government commitment to reform will achieve progress in the energy sector. This remains an essential underpinning to electrification targets and increased renewable energy investment. Australia's support focuses on opportunities for governance improvements to deliver high-quality infrastructure in a sustainable way. We understand that challenges in energy are felt across the economy. Business and industry play a vital role in supporting the significant and sustained reform to deliver PNG's electrification targets through PNG Power and the National Energy Authority, and in delivering high-quality infrastructure. Some of the challenges and opportunities include partnering to develop a legislative and regulatory framework through the National Energy Authority to promote private sector investment in renewable energy in PNG. Ongoing considerations around energy tariffs. PNG Power cannot function sustainably if its costs are greater than its revenue. However, we also need to make sure that energy is affordable for citizens. Increasing PNG Power's workforce capacity to manage the transition to solar and to support the use of solar by businesses connected to the major grids. And this is an important area where the public and private sectors can share experience and expertise. And supporting pilots of off-grid energy projects to test renewable technologies and business models that are new to PNG in a responsible, community-focused and cooperative way. PNG's renewable energy landscape is complex and, like all countries, faces challenges. There are no quick fixes or easy solutions. Partners like Australia are ready and enthusiastic to work with business, PNG Power, the National Energy Authority, communities and the wider government to support PNG's goals in this area. There are significant opportunities for public and private sectors to work in partnership toward the future that we all want. Improved access for all Papua New Guineans to reliable, affordable and clean energy. Thank you.